What is up? Good mic work. Back at you with a midweek commentary this time. We got a lot to get into today. I'm going to do a little bit of talking about this past Monday night's Raw, the 420 edition. Chronicle a little bit of that. Also talk about some wrestling news and big stories that have been floating around the internet. And I'm also going to offer you my Extreme Rules predictions. So buckle up. We got a lot to get into. We'll start with Raw. I'm guessing this commentary will not be up until about Wednesday morning. So Raw's a couple of days old now. You guys saw what happened. But there's a few things I do want to talk about. I've been getting mixed feedback on Monday Night Raw. I was home to watch the show. I tweeted throughout the whole thing, and I got a lot of just a mixed bag of reactions from people. That some people thought the show was great and it was good and fun and exciting. Others thought it was boring. Several people said they were falling asleep and they really weren't into the show at all. I thought it was mediocre. I didn't mind it so much. I mean, the show was centered around Seth Rollins, who's the brand new WWE champion, fresh young guy on top now that surprised us all at WrestleMania 31 by winning the belt. They're going to have to surround the next several months of Monday Night Raws around this guy, so you got to get behind it. Right now he's feuding with Randy Orton, and what they did on Monday night was this long arcing storyline that started at the beginning of the show and finished at the end. I didn't mind it so much, but basically, as we all know, the two of them are going to be facing for the WWE title in a cage match at Extreme Rules. So Randy Orton opens the show cutting a promo inside the cage saying that he's going to get his hands on Seth Rollins. Come hell or high water, by the end of the show he will have a RKO with Seth Rollins' name on it. And he proceeds to say that if Seth Rollins doesn't come out to that ring right now, then he'll go in the back and just RKO everybody until he gets his hands on him. So this is your go-home show to Extreme Rules, so naturally they're going to have to build it around these guys. I don't know what people's feelings are right now on this main event for Extreme Rules. I have no problem with it whatsoever. I kind of like where they're going with Seth Rollins. I like the kind of champion he's going to be. Here's what's going to happen, folks, and let me just tell you. He's going to wind up escaping probably the next, 4 pay-per-views literally by the skin of his dick. He's just going to barely eke through each and every title defense. He'll most likely have a whole lot of help, a whole lot of luck on his side, and a lot of outside interference, but he will also win some of these matches with his ability. I compare it to how Kurt Angle was when he first won the WWE title from The Rock in, in 2000? And for the next 3 or 4 pay-per-views when he was retaining the title right before he lost it, he was winning it in all these crazy situations. And he was still very good and still very capable in the ring, but just needed that extra help to survive, and to exit the pay-per-view still as the WWE champion. That's what they're going to do with Seth Rollins. And before anybody freaks out, I don't want anybody to say, oh, WWE doesn't never let this guy win clean. That's not the type of champion Seth Rollins is going to be. Look at the guy. He's not fucking Brock Lesnar. He's not the dominant champion that's going to go out there and win every match clean. He's the smaller, opportunistic WWE champion that cashed in his Money in the Bank opportunity, and he's got a lot of guys coming after him. Very, very talented guy, yes, but dominant, definitely not. And I think Seth Rollins is viewed as a guy that really anybody on the roster could beat at any given time. So I think that's what we're going to look at with Seth Rollins, which I have no problem with that storyline at all. I like that. Seth Rollins, the cornerstone of the Authority. He's got those 2 little pipsqueak security guards running around with him. I think it's small. I think it's so funny that as small as Seth Rollins is, his security guards are smaller than he is. Is that a fucking rib? I mean, that's fucking hilarious. But he also has the backing of the corporation and Triple H and Stephanie and Kane, and there's a lot of dissension in the ranks there, which we'll get into. But as far as the direction they're going to go with Seth Rollins' title reign, he's going to win at Extreme Rules. He's going to win at Payback or whatever the fuck it's called. He'll probably win at the June 1 and Money in the Bank and Battleground or whatever the fuck until he gets into SummerSlam, and I expect him to drop it there. But in the meantime, I'm on the bandwagon of Seth Rollins. I think the feud with Randy Orton is great. It's a feud that's stretched out since Randy Orton was in the Authority. It's been going on for a few months. They had the big match at WrestleMania. And now that Seth is the champion, he needs to beat a big star, which he will, I believe, at Extreme Rules. Now, we'll get into predictions, like I said, in a little while. But you'd have to be crazy to think that Randy Orton is going to walk out of this pay-per-view as the WWE champion. But basically what they wind up doing on Raw is Randy Orton does go to the back. He does RKO a few people. I think he nailed Heath Slater in catering. And he even did a run-in the tag match later on. But he's basically, obsessed with getting his hands on Seth Rollins, who will be in the main event on Raw against Dolph Ziggler. This was a match, I believe, that was supposed to take place on the UK Raw and did not. So there you go. There's another example. I know we have seen Seth Rollins and Dolph Ziggler kind of a lot lately, but is that a bad thing? Did anybody complain when we saw Kurt Angle and Eddie Guerrero all the time? I didn't mind that so much. To me, you got 2 great wrestlers, and they're main eventing Raw. I thought for all the type of fans out there that shit on everything the WWE does, this should be the exact type of main event you would want for Raw. It's going to be a good match, and it's going to be a competitive match, and these are the type of matches that Seth Rollins, I think, will win and will win clean when they're building him up on Raw, and he's having singles matches on Raw. I think it's just the big main event title defenses on pay-per-views that he's going to have to cheat to win. Other than that, I do expect him to get some quality victories on Monday Night Raw while he is WWE champion. To me, all of that was great. Now, the ending was definitely predictable because because after Seth Rollins won, of course he cuts a promo and starts giving more shit to Kane, who they've been feuding all night with, and then the cage starts lowering down to protect himself from Kane, and you know the cage takes forever to come down. So as you're watching it come down, you could see it coming from across the street. You're like, well, shit, this is the end of the show. Randy Orton owes Seth Rollins an RKO, so you know he's got plenty of time to sneak in there and get in the ring before the cage closes, and Rollins will have his back turned and not see him coming, and he'll get nailed. Totally fucking crazy obvious, but still good and executed well. You know, just a little bit predictable, that's all. And Extreme Rules, to be honest with you, is kind of predictable, and when I get into my predictions, we'll talk about that. So what we got to hope for is WWE can give us a great show despite the predictability of it. But getting back to Rollins and Orton, you got Kane as the wild card in this thing, and here we go again. For the past several months, can you believe how much Kane has been featured on Monday Night Raw? He was like in 10 segments last night. I mean, he was all over the show, featured 5 times more than John Cena or Roman Reigns, and they're teasing another face turn for Kane, which, you know, I hate this Kane. I hate the khaki-wearing pussy Kane. Fucking can't stand him. Hate this character. He's just such a douche, and he's a cowardly just shell of his former self, and I just miss the Demon Kane. But then again, we've gotten the Demon Kane several times as well in the past few years. And why the fuck am I saying the Demon Kane? That's like saying the Vigilante Sting. I hate that shit. But I like old school Kane. We love his legacy. I love the career that he's had. It's just, you know, the way he's featured now in his role is just so bland and boring. You know, he's just out there in dress pants and a suit, and, you know, and he's not charismatic at all. You know, Kane's good. He can cut a promo, which he proved. You know, tonight on Raw, he got really intense in his promo with Seth Rollins, saying that they could put the WWE title on El Torito. It's awesome to see Kane get fired up like that. I loved it. But really, how many times has this guy reverted from heel to face in the past couple of years? I've completely lost count. So if they're going to tease another face turn by Kane, at this point, it's not even newsworthy, because this is the type of shit they seem to do every 6 months with Kane. So I'm not necessarily jumping for joy that Kane could possibly turn babyface in the future, because you know what that means? We might get a Kane and Seth Rollins feud at the next pay-per-view, and I don't know if we really want that. I mean, on one hand, it would just be another opponent to set in front of Seth Rollins for him to knock over and continue his reign, which is fine. And it'll keep Roman Reigns in the background, because I think a lot of us are worried that Reigns will be getting some title shots this summer. So after Rollins disposes of Randy Orton at Extreme Rules, he can move on and work with Kane. Who knows? So there's pros and cons to that feud, but I'm really sick of the WWE. And don't get me wrong, I love Kane. Kane, I respect the dog shit out of him. There's really no one on the roster that I have a greater respect for right now than Kane, just because of his legacy and how long he's been there and how many years he's been in the business and the great shape he's in given his size and his age. I think Kane is still performing relatively well, but as far as being featured on 8 to 10 segments on Monday Night Raw, fuck that. But anyway, as I was saying, with them teasing all of this dissension in the Authority, and one of the stupidest things, I think it was the same segment where Kane got a little heated in his promo on Rollins, but Triple H is trying to keep the peace. He's trying to get these guys to understand that they need each other, they need to appreciate each other, pointed out a couple of times where one of them saved the other one's ass, and trying his best to get them on the same page, and then decides to add yet another stipulation to this match that has 2 stupid stipulations as it is, and now Kane is going to be, get this, Guardian of the Gate. I immediately fell backwards in my chair and landed on the floor. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Guardian of the Gate? Fucking Lord of the Rings bullshit. This is so stupid, you know? So Kane is going to stand outside the ring, which I guess they needed him out there for storyline purposes, but this is what they came up with, that Kane has got to be the Guardian of the Gate. Fuck me. Basically, all that means is Kane is going to be out there at ringside during the match, and nobody's going to be able to get inside that cage. If they want to get in there, they're going to have to go through Kane. Well, that shouldn't be too hard. It's not like Kane is an unbeatable monster anymore. If somebody wants to go out there and get Kane out of the way, they will. So Seth Rollins is going to be in a cage match with Randy Orton with 3 guys, most likely, in his corner when you add J&J Security. So this just adds the potential for Kane to turn babyface and maybe turn on Rollins and help Randy Orton win the title, but I just cannot see that happening. Not after Randy Orton already got the victory over Seth Rollins at WrestleMania, and the fact that Rollins won the belt at WrestleMania. They're not going to take it off of him a month later. No way. But Kane being the Guardian of the Gate is fucking stupid, and it didn't end there. Kane was a very busy man on Monday Night Raw. As we all know, John Cena has his open challenge every single week, which I actually like. I don't mind at all, as long as he doesn't bury, quote-unquote, too many people, which he is not. He's beaten fucking nobody so far. So he comes out to the ring for yet another open challenge, even though he's got a title match at the pay-per-view, so you know the WWE's not going to take the belt off of him. And who challenges him? Kane. Where does this fit in with everything, with the Rollins and Orton feud? Why would Kane even come out there and face Cena? I don't understand. And why the hell does Kane give a shit about the U.S. title? But he came out there, challenged Cena. They had, a match, and Cena won with the fireman's carry, and it sucked. I just don't know if Kane was the right opponent. I want to see John Cena have good matches. He had a kick-ass match a couple of weeks ago with Dean Ambrose. And if he's going to have this open challenge every week for the U.S. title, put some new guys in there with him. I mean, Cena's been there a long time. He's worked with pretty much everybody. But put him in there with guys that you maybe would not find Cena feuding with in other situations. And I apologize for saying nobodies earlier, because that's really not the case, because he did defeat Bad News Barrett, he defeated Dean Ambrose, and he defeated Kane. Those are not nobodies. But what I'm saying is just have some of those, mid-card guys come out there every week and challenge him. Go out there and give John Cena a good 13-minute match, and they could lose, but, in losing it might be able to help them if they're able to put on a good showing or something like that. So, to me, that's what I want to see. If Cena is going to wrestle and have a title defense every week on Raw, I always think it's a good thing when he has a good match, because I know the fans fucking hate it. But when you put him in there with Kane, he's not going to have a good match, and this match was horrible. But Cena won. You knew he had to, because they got to build him for Rusev, and then they had a great confrontation in the back. John Cena, again, this is another thing that is just so predictable on Raw. As fans, we all see the way TV is structured and how things go. We have all been watching for so long. You can just see so many things coming. As soon as they're like, okay, we're going to go to the back for an interview with John Cena, you're like, well, shit, Rusev's going to attack him. Otherwise, why would they even have a fucking backstage interview? So Renee Young or whoever the fuck it is back there interviewing him, and you're just like counting down, okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Sure enough, Rusev jumps in, attacks John Cena, and in a great spot takes that chain, because they're in a Russian chain match, I guess, at Extreme Rules, takes the chain and wraps it around his face, puts him in the Acolyte using the chain to pull back, and it was pretty fucking sweet and looked terribly uncomfortable for John Cena. That looked like it hurt like shit. But really, kind of a cool little segment and a great still image there of John Cena with that chain around his face. I wouldn't be surprised at all if that turns out to be my thumbnail for this video. Now, as far as what else happened on Raw, The Miz and Damien Mizdow, I guess, had what will be their blow-off. Well, actually, maybe not. This feud may continue, but the match on Raw was to determine who gets the brand Miz, or who gets the right to use the name Miz. And I was like, this is stupid. You kind of think Miz has got to win this. They're not going to take the Miz gimmick off of him and give it to Damien Sandow. Damien Sandow can be entertaining with or without that shit. But still very, very funny stuff. They had the promo in the back, and Mizdow is still mimicking Miz, which is pretty funny. And Summer Rae is involved. I don't even know why. She's fucking out there with the two of them. I didn't even realize that she was. And she's hanging out with Mizdow now, going up against the Miz. And I think, isn't she in the movie with the Miz? I've actually never seen any of these Marines movies. I've never seen one of them. So I don't know how they are or who the fuck is in them, but I think that's what it is. Summer Rae was in the movie with the Miz, and then she is aligning herself with Mizdow now. I don't know. They go out there and have the match, and in a big, huge, jaw-dropping swerve, Summer Rae turns heel, turns against Damien Mizdow, and helps the Miz win. So they're finally out of that deal now. It looks like Miz gets to keep his name, and Damien Mizdow has to go on to something else. Now, he's going to become Damien Sandow again. I don't know. Maybe he's going to imitate somebody else, but I think it's highly possible since, the Miz did do some dirty tricks to win the match, having Summer Rae turn heel, that maybe the two of them could continue to work. I don't believe they're scheduled to work Extreme Rules, but maybe they can work some more TV or more pay-per-views in the future. I have no idea. Or maybe they can just completely split them up altogether and finally go in a different direction with Damien Sandow, and he's finally recovered, from, the shit that he was in, losing every week, and, finally he found his niche here with this Mizdow gimmick. They're finally ready to split him up and give Sandow another shot. So we'll have to see where it goes from here. I'm glad Sandow is back on his own. I'm interested to see what they do with him, if any, because he didn't look that great on Raw either. I mean, keep in mind, he was in there with the Miz, who I think fucking sucks, and then, a female turned on him to help him lose the match. This doesn't make him look that great. I think if Sandow was as good a wrestler and as tough as everybody says he is, he wouldn't let that Summer Rae heel turn get in his way. He would have fucking won the match anyway. But who knows? Sandow's highly entertaining, and I hope whatever they do with him next continues to be. Speaking of heel turns, did we have two of them on Monday Night Raw? What about the New Day? They won a #1 contenders match against the Lucha Dragons, and they now get a title shot at Extreme Rules against Cesaro and Tyson Kidd. Now, the New Day, I feel the same way about them as everybody else does. It's the same as you. They are horrible. I don't know what the WWE was thinking. I had high expectations of the WWE taking these three guys, putting them together. We thought because they were all black, it was going to be a fucking Nation of Domination or something. I think if they were packaged and sold as a tougher team, I always said, put those three guys in the same type of outfit and gimmick that you had the Shield in, and they would be instantly over because they're all believable and they're all good wrestlers. You got the High Flyer and Kofi, and Xavier Woods is not half bad either, and then you got the Muscle and Big E. To me, they would be a terrifying group, if they were just a little bit more, a little darker, a little edgier. But instead, they come out there wearing this John Cena blue. They're jumping around, clapping and dancing sense. And I'm thinking the WWE is just ribbing the fans. As soon as we saw them, it was like, how in the world did WWE ever think these guys would be over at all? And I think I was one of the first ones to say that I hope this whole thing is just a huge ruse. I hope deep down these guys are dirty players and they're going to eventually turn heel, but they're going to mask it and hide it around all of this positivity. But they never really did that. It just seemed like New Day was out there portraying the baby faces for the kids, the ultra positive, happy guys that are happy whether they win, lose, or draw. It was just fucking stupid. So finally on Raw, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, they might have teased this or shown signs of this on previous shows, on SmackDowns, on more recent Monday Night Raws. I just haven't been paying attention, but they actually cheat to win this match. I think Xavier Woods crawls his ass under the ring, and then he reaches out and grabs one of the Lucha Dragon's legs, causing him to get counted out. So they win the number one contender spot via countout. So these guys' title shot kind of comes under shady circumstances, and if they weren't looking shitty enough, Randy Orton comes out there and RKOs a couple of them. And how about Kofi Kingston? How awesome was that? Did you guys catch that? It looked like Kofi botched that initial RKO. Now, there was also another famous botch that took place, 5-6 years ago on Monday Night Raw that a lot of people say killed the push that WWE was giving Kofi Kingston. He was out there with Randy Orton. He botched something else. I think it was an RKO, and that was when Randy Orton stood over him and was like, stupid, stupid. You guys remember that. Look it up on YouTube. It's all over the place. And a lot of people always hated Randy Orton for that because he broke character in the match. He lost his temper, and on live TV, he's calling one of his peers stupid in front of everybody. And I didn't like it at all. I was pissed, that Randy Orton did that because, yeah, Kofi botched something, but everybody botches things from time to time or forgets a spot or whatever. Randy Orton, I'm sure, is guilty of it. And Kofi Kingston, because he was an up-and-coming star, a guy that they were trying to give an opportunity to and a brand new push, Randy Orton's temper tantrum, put the brakes on it. And that's the type of power that main eventers can have sometimes, especially, when there's a young guy coming up and trying to break through and become a top-tier talent. It's like they literally have to do everything right, because if you run into a guy with an ego or an attitude problem or somebody who's in Vince's ear or has any sort of political pull at all, it can really put the brakes on anything you want to do. And I've always felt bad for Kofi Kingston for losing that opportunity. So the fact that he botched another one tonight on Raw, I was like, haha, yeah, fuck you, Randy Orton. I hope Kofi Kingston did it on purpose. I do. I'm sure whatever problems they had years ago has long since been hashed out, water under the bridge, but I still think it was really funny that Kofi Kingston botched that, and I was laughing my ass off. Can't forget about our buddy, Roman Reigns. He cut a promo tonight on Raw. Of course, he's been feuding with The Big Show. I've made my feelings known on that in a couple previous commentaries. I hate this feud, for Roman Reigns to be in there with this big lumbering idiot like The Big Show. It's just not a feud that just doesn't feel like there's any emotion in it or something. I mean, Big Show, there was a couple good spots. I mean, he slammed Roman Reigns through the taxi cab on the stage at the UK Raw. He's brutalized Roman Reigns a couple of times here or there, and these guys are going to have a last man standing match at Extreme Rules, so at least the stipulation is a little more fun. I enjoy last man standing matches. I actually like them. I like those a lot more than a cage match or a stretcher match or a chain match or an ambulance match and just crazy shit like that, just last man standing match. If you can't get up, you fucking lose. But still, at the end of the day, it's Roman Reigns and Big Show, and Roman Reigns has got to win this thing. He's finally going to knock the Big Show out, and when you look at it like that, yeah, I don't mind so much that Big Show won that Battle Royal at WrestleMania, because this puts him in a big match, with Roman Reigns and gives him more credibility going into the match. That way, when Roman beats him, it makes Roman look stronger. That's their whole mentality there, but it doesn't change the fact that the feud and the match sucks, and I have no interest in it at all. I hope this is a one and done. I hope Roman Reigns disposes of Big Show at Extreme Rules and moves on to someone else. But back to his promo, luckily he cuts a short and sweet one, because he comes out, he's pissed off for getting his ass kicked last week, and he gets on the mic and says, I don't feel like talking, I just feel like fighting, and then Bo Dallas comes out to the ring. So obviously Roman Reigns just beats the shit out of him, and I'm glad to see Bo Dallas back. He fucking cracks me up. I mean, this gimmick is not working for him. He's coming out there looking like a joke. They got to do something with him. I would love to see him team up with his brother. Make Bo Dallas a dark, edgier guy, have him grow his fucking facial hair out, and put him with his brother, and give him the last name Wyatt. Judging by how well Bo Dallas cuts comedy promos, I think he'd be pretty good at creepy ones too, so I hope they do that with him one day in the future. And speaking of characters looking like dumbasses, Curtis Axel is in the same boat as Bo Dallas. If you ask me, the two of those guys should feud. That would be entertaining as shit. Axel comes out there, he's doing his Axelmania thing, he's facing Fandango, and he's out there dancing. I was laughing my ass off when Curtis Axel was dancing, and then Fandango beats him, and they brought his old music back. When the hell did that happen? I remember they changed Fandango's music, and we were all kind of pissed about it. Now it's back, so maybe the WWE just realized that was stupid because that was the only thing about the guy that was over. So they did, in fact, bring it back. But I have just been, it's been like, what, 2.5 years now, maybe 2 years since Fandango debuted, and I still don't like him. Oh, and I mentioned Bray Wyatt earlier on. He cut another one of his promos on Monday Night Raw, too. And this is another one of these cryptic promos where he's basically calling out his next opponent. Now, I still don't know who he's talking about, but I actually paid attention to his promo this past week on Raw, and the only thing I really took from it is he said, you can lift all the weights you want. So that at least narrows it down that it looks like he might be targeting a muscle head. And I mentioned in my last commentary that I hated the Roman Reigns Big Show feud, and I was hoping that maybe that was a decoy and Bray Wyatt can end up interfering in that match or something, helping Big Show win, and Bray Wyatt and Roman Reigns can feud for a couple of months while Seth Rollins feuds with other people. So in the back of my mind, I was kind of hoping that maybe Bray was talking about Roman Reigns, but I don't know if he is. I'm trying to think of everybody on the roster, and one name came to mind because as soon as Bray Wyatt was done cutting his promo, Ryback's music hit. Now, if you're talking about somebody who's muscled up and lifts a lot of weights, there's your fucking guy right there. Other than that, you're probably talking about a Roman Reigns or a John Cena again. I mean, would we see another Bray Wyatt-John Cena feud? Is that who Bray Wyatt is talking about? I really have no idea. If it does turn out to be someone like Ryback, I would be disappointed because I don't want to see Bray wrestle a mid-carder like that. Ryback, I just don't like him. He's just not over. I'm not into the feed me more, and I hate his fucking finisher, and I don't like too much of what he does in the ring. He's a big, beefy tank, that runs people down. I'm fine with that. It's just something about him. I've just never been on the Ryback bandwagon. I think he's just too much of a mixture or kind of a clone of guys like Goldberg and Rhino and other just big guys that wrestled that style all mixed together. I will, however, say on Monday Night Raw, I did chuckle a little bit considering that his catchphrase is "Feed me more." Was he in the ring with Adam Rose and he had all his people in costumes out there, including a giant hamburger and a giant hot dog, and then Ryback gets them both in the ring after the match and beats the shit out of the giant food, which is funny. Even when he was about to pick both of them up, and I don't know, did he shell shock them both? I forgot what he did, but as soon as he's about to pick them up, Ryback yells out, "It's funny because it's food," and it just cracked me up. It reminded me of Mr. Chow from the Hangover movies. It's funny because he's fat, or it's funny because he's Jewish, or whatever. Really funny, stupid, hokey, dumbass segment, Adam Rose in these fucking costumes. We saw a lot of stupid people on Monday Night Raw tonight. You had Adam Rose, you had Bo Dallas, Curtis Axel, Fandango, all the fucking morons were out there this week on Raw. But I think that does it for Raw. I need to get into Extreme Rules and some of my predictions for that show. But first, let's talk about a few other news tidbits going around. One of the big stories right now is that the WWE has possibly banned the curb stomp finisher used by Seth Rollins. Now, from what I've been reading, they are not coming out and saying it's banned because they probably don't want to call a lot of attention to that, but I think they just maybe want to phase out the move and have Seth Rollins come up with a new one, which he used on Raw. He finished off Ziggler with some sort of a modified DDT. I didn't even really get a good look at it. So I don't know if this is what he's going to use permanently or if he's just testing new finishers out. Now, there's some controversy on this. I agree with people that are upset by it because I do think it's kind of stupid. I can look at it, like I said, every story, there's two sides to every story. So I can look at it from the WWE's point of view. They're very paranoid about head injuries and everything that's going on. It's not the same business and it's not the same world and society as it was 20 years ago. Head and neck injuries and trauma and brain damage is a very serious subject. We see what's going on in the NFL and how fucked up all of that is getting, and the WWE realizes they're being responsible. You have to at least give them that. You can't say they're being pussies or anything like that. They're actually being a responsible company saying, hey, the majority of our audience is children, and if they're going to be practicing wrestling moves, this is one that if they practice in their living room, they could really hurt somebody else. But that's the case with a lot of moves, and I understand that argument. Hey, well, what about a pile driver or a suplex? Yes, any move can pretty much kill you, but this is so focused on the head and neck, I think it makes the WWE a little bit nervous. Now, where I think the WWE is stupid is that why are you making this decision right now? If you truly are banning this move, and I don't even think they're really banning it, what I would like to see them do is just limit the use of it. Have Seth Rollins break it out on big shows or big title defenses or pay-per-views only, or to win a big match or to score a big victory. So I don't think that the move is completely banned totally, but if the WWE truly is limiting the use of this move or slightly banning it or whatever, why the fuck did they not do this last year before they put the belt on the fucking guy? He won the WWE title with that move at WrestleMania, a match that is going to be replayed over and over and over until the end of time. You cannot pretend the move does not exist, which is why I think the WWE just wants Seth Rollins to come up with a new finisher, and in big-time storyline situations, you can break out the curb stomp. And in that respect, I love it, because that's old school. That's what you used to do back in the day before you had 9 hours of fresh new content every week coming out of wrestling promotions. You did a good spot or you had a good move, you kept it, and you didn't fucking overplay it. I always bring up the example of the 619. I remember the first time I saw Rey Mysterio execute that move, I thought it was the most innovative fucking thing I have ever seen. By the time Rey Mysterio left the WWE, I never wanted to see that move again. So if Seth Rollins is going to keep this finisher buried in his bag of tricks and pull it out for special occasions only, that makes it great. And in that respect, as long as we see it sometimes, I'm fine with it. I don't need to see the curb stomp in every one of Seth Rollins' matches. I want to see him bust out the curb stomp when he beats Roman Reigns or Brock Lesnar or something like that. So this might not be that terrible of a thing. I agree with anybody that says it's stupid, because to me it's like, I think it's stupid for different reasons. I think if the WWE wanted to ban the move, they should have done it a long time ago. They decided to wait until they pushed this guy and put the WWE title on him, then they want to change his fucking finisher. That's retarded. And again, you don't need to argue with me. You don't need to put in the comment sections, yeah, good mic work, but what about this move and what about that move? You're right. Everybody is right. There are definitely other moves out there just as dangerous that are not banned. So why the WWE just wants to ban this one, I have no idea. I have a feeling it's because somebody's foot is going through somebody's head and slamming it into the ground. One of the reasons I like the move is because it's very real looking, and I do like it. And if you have a guy that can sell it properly, like a Dolph Ziggler or a Brock Lesnar or someone like that, it looks great. So basically, I agree with both sides. Every fan that's pissed off about this move being banned, you're right, it is stupid. But on the other side of that, on the WWE, from their point of view, maybe I can see why they're doing it. Also, there's been a name that I've left out of my last two commentaries because he hasn't been wrestling. Fucking Daniel Bryan. He has got more health issues. It's very unfortunate. It does not sound good. He does have a match at Extreme Rules against Bad News Barrett for the Intercontinental title, and that is up in the air. As of recording this commentary on Tuesday, before the SmackDown tapings, I have not heard of Daniel Bryan being taken out of this match yet, so we still have to wait and see. But, I got a really uncomfortable feeling about it. I'm worried about his health. I think he might be in bad shape, and it's just one of those things. It's just really sad. I think Daniel Bryan is probably never going to be back on top of the wrestling business. I think he's already too hurt with the style that he works and everything. He's not going to have a 25-year career unless he drastically changes his style up, but the damage might be done now. He might be plagued with neck injuries and everything else for the rest of his life. And it's just one of these unfortunate, sad circumstances that happens in pro wrestling. There's been so many injuries and things that have happened that have, derailed guys' pushes, and it's always just sad, especially when it's a guy like Daniel Bryan that you like and respect so much. We all love him. We love his in-ring work. We love what they did and how they pushed him after WrestleMania 30, and he never even got his title run off the ground. He was just nailed with injuries right off the bat. Now he's been back after almost a year off. He's got another title belt around his waist, and he might have to forfeit that too. It's just very unfortunate, and whatever happens with Daniel Bryan, I just wish him all the best. I hope he can continue and resume his career, but just from what we've been reading and what they've been saying on WWE TV, not even having him wrestle in the past couple of weeks, it's not looking good. I mean, we went through this last year. Same time last year, Daniel Bryan is the WWE World Heavyweight Champion, and he has to cough up a title because of injury. If he cannot compete in his match with Bad News Barrett, he's going to have to forfeit the Intercontinental title too, and that just sucks. And if that happens, I expect Daniel Bryan to go back on the shelf for a long time until he can come back 100%. I don't think he was 100% when he returned because he's already hurt again. So he might have to take a long time off and have several more surgeries or something to fix himself up. I don't know. Or maybe with just a little rest and rehab, he can actually still resume his career and stay in the ring and continue his Intercontinental title run. At this point, I don't know. I'm just saying, given the disappointments we've all suffered from Daniel Bryan's injuries in the past and what he's had to go through, chances are he's not going to be okay to work this match. And if he does, he'll probably drop the belt, and we'll talk about predictions here in just a second. And in another wonderful piece of wrestling news, which was also tied into Monday Night Raw, Triple H came out, and I think that was his first appearance since WrestleMania, came out to the ring for a major announcement involving Tough Enough. I don't know. Maybe some of you guys are Tough Enough fans out there. I've just never liked the show. And has it ever produced anyone? I actually liked the first season or two of it, but really, I mean, I just think of like Mavens and Nydias and fucking that guy that won it last time, just like a couple of years ago with Stone Cold. What the fuck ever happened to him? I mean, has anybody ever become a major star coming out of Tough Enough? I know a few guys have gotten contracts, but it seems like they've all been since released and there's only one or two left. Who's a Tough Enough guy currently right now on the WWE roster other than The Miz. I can't think of anyone. I know John Morrison was another tough enough guy or whatever, and he's a relatively big star, but still, I'm just not a fan of the show, and I'm not a fan of anything that WWE does like this. I hate Total Divas. I don't watch any of the WWE-produced movies, and now Tough Enough, I mean, I applaud them on one hand. I've always said WWE has got a great vision. They understand that there's lots of other avenues out there that they can make money other than just wrestling, and they've got a great understanding and a great vision for that, but none of the other material that they produce I'm really interested in watching at all. And Tough Enough, I think he said, will be on the USA Network, so it's not going to be an internet-only show. Looks like they're going to take it seriously, and they're going to have another Tough Enough winner, but, you know, is this person going to be WWE champion and win the title at WrestleMania in 5 years? Fuck no. So Tough Enough is back, whatever. I don't plan on watching it. I don't know who's going to host it. I don't know if it's going to be Stone Cold. I think he's got some turmoil right now with WWE. They're not on good terms. So I don't know if they're going to have some big famous wrestler be the head trainer for this or the host of it or what the fuck. And I'm sure it's structured differently now than it was in its first 2 seasons, which are really the only 2 seasons of Tough Enough I really remember. I never did watch the most recent one with Stone Cold, and the winner of it, I don't even remember his name. I barely remember what he looks like. I just remember a segment on Raw where Austin came out to the ring and announced him as the winner and gave him like a replica belt or some shit. So I don't know. Tough Enough is back, but if you ask me, fuck Tough Enough. Now it's time for the predictions, and I'm sorry if I left out any other juicy news that's been floating around. I like I said, I've been really busy, and I might have missed something, so if I did, I'm sorry. I'll try to talk about it in my next commentary. And speaking of Extreme Rules, by the way, unfortunately, I will not be home Sunday to watch the pay-per-view. I was hoping that I would be. I really wanted to sit at home and watch it and live tweet with all of you, but I'm going to be busy. I'm going to be working, but I will have my phone on me, and I'll have it pulled up on the network, and I'll try to keep my eye on it. So what that means is I probably will not be up here, or I definitely will not be up here with a reaction video. I mean, unless something really, really insane happens, I might have to come up with a reaction video very, very late in the night, but most likely there will not be one. I will wait until after Monday Night Raw and come up with a commentary discussing both. Now let's get into the pay-per-view. We'll try to blow through these pretty quick because I've already talked about a lot of these storylines when I discussed Raw, but we'll start right at the bottom. Let's start with the pre-show. Tag team title match, New Day, new #1 contenders, won their match against the Lucha Dragons on Monday Night Raw, taking on tag team champions Tyson Kidd and Cesaro. Again, this is a pre-show match. Does not seem like the stage to take the titles off of Cesaro and Kidd. The tag team division is a little funny right now. I think, it's kind of a mess. I think they're working on it to get it better. But right now, they've kind of thrown the belts on Tyson Kidd and Cesaro, and New Day is kind of freshly turned heel, sort of. But isn't Tyson Kidd and Cesaro heel? So I don't know what the fuck's going to happen in this match. But anyway, at the end of the day, I don't expect Cesaro and Kidd to lose the belts. So I am predicting them to retain in a pretty good match, and we'll have to see where they go with New Day from here. We've got a Divas title match as well. Naomi is going to be challenging my girlfriend for the WWE Divas title. And of course, you know my woman's winning this. Nikki retains. I love you, baby. See you at home. Leave the door unlocked. In the battle of matching outfits, Dean Ambrose is going to be taking on Luke Harper in a Chicago street fight. Extreme Rules is in Chicago, by the way. We never really mentioned that. That is a very fun town and a very hot crowd, so you know the WWE is going to have to come through with a good show, otherwise these fans are going to shit on it. I fully expect and I hope that Dean Ambrose finally gets a pay-per-view victory here. I'm hoping this is a big night for the Shield. I want the Shield to reign supreme on this pay-per-view, and they will. So Ambrose, I'm picking him. If he does not win, I will be very disappointed and quite confused as to why he would not win. Like I talked about just a minute ago, we do have an Intercontinental title match scheduled between Daniel Bryan and Bad News Barrett. No stipulation in this one, but Daniel Bryan might not even be there. So if he's not able to work, I'm not sure what they're going to do. If they're going to have Bryan come out and forfeit the title and then they're going to have a tournament, or if somebody will fill in for him and they'll try to crown a new champion that night. So this is a tough one to predict. I think if the match takes place, Bad News Barrett wins. I think with the WWE being so concerned about Daniel Bryan's health, if they're able to get him in the ring, they might want to get the belt off of him. That way, if he gets hurt again, he can be put on the shelf without them having to make any changes or arrangements to a title belt situation. So at this point, as much as I wanted Daniel Bryan's Intercontinental title reign to last just as long as John Cena's U.S. title reign, it looks like his injuries are not going to allow that to happen. So based on the internet stories of Daniel Bryan's injuries, I am picking Bad News Barrett to win the Intercontinental title. Here's a match that I hate the sound of, a Kiss My Arse match between Sheamus and Dolph Ziggler. I have not talked much about Sheamus since his re-debut. He's a heel now, kind of a new look, and some new theme music, which I mentioned. When he first came back and turned heel, I was like, okay, he needs new music. I hate that fucking shit. He needs something slower and darker and edgier, and that's exactly what he got. It's like they fucking heard me. I like this new Sheamus. He's a jerk off. He's cocky as hell. He did this segment on Monday Night Raw where he was doing commentary in his own match, just like Jerry Lawler used to do. It reminded me of that. But he was in the ring. I forget who he was with. I think Zack Ryder, and he was just beating the piss out of him and talking shit to him on the mic at the same time. I kind of like this new Sheamus. I was in favor of any Sheamus other than the one we had. So the fact that this guy took so much time off and came back as a heel with a new look, reinvented himself. I know people say, oh, he looks like the Red Rooster or whatever, but give this guy some credit and give the WWE credit for just not bringing him back as same old fucking Sheamus. Here's a guy that they're not scared to turn heel like John Cena, and I like the new Sheamus so far. I like the look. I like everything. Do not like the match, and also don't understand the feud with Ziggler. Ziggler's awesome. He can sell really well, and I'm sure he will in this match, and the stipulation is just so stupid. It reminds me of SummerSlam, 1997. Remember Owen and Austin? So in this situation, even though it's Extreme Rules, WWE is not going to show an ass crack on their PG fucking pay-per-view. And also, neither guy is going to fucking go through with the stipulation. I mean, they should add another stipulation. Okay, if the loser refuses to kiss the winner's ass, then he's fired or something like that. So whatever's going to happen here, I'm expecting Sheamus to win. That's who I would book to win anyway because he just came back. He's new. He's this new heel. And Ziggler, as we've seen so many times in the past, he can definitely afford losses because the WWE seems like they have this guy lose all the time and he's still just as over as ever. Sheamus is fresh off an injury, back on the scene as a new heel, new character, so Sheamus should win this match. But I cannot see Dolph Ziggler kissing his arse after the match. So whatever happens, once Sheamus wins, I don't know, he pulls down his pants and then Ziggler says, no, fuck you, and drop kicks him out of the ring or something. I don't know. Whatever happens, nobody's kissing anybody's ass. I can almost guarantee that. Unless, however, somebody's knocked out. Maybe Sheamus knocks Ziggler out cold and then grabs his lifeless body, grabs his head by the hair, and just shoves it right in his ass. I talked about Roman Reigns and Big Show as well. This is a last man standing match. There's nothing really to say about this. Roman Reigns will win. And he better win. I don't want the Big Show to win. Even the Roman Reigns haters should be rooting for him in this match. You guys want to see the Big Show win this? Fuck no. Don't scream that you want WWE to push new young stars and then root for a guy that's twice the young star's age. Speaking of another guy winning that the fans are probably going to hate to see, John Cena versus Rusev in the Russian chain match. Now, here we go. I'm sure there's going to be all sorts of controversy after this match. You know, just like WrestleMania, oh, John Cena, he always wins and he buries everybody. Look, you guys are in a great situation here. If you don't want to see John Cena win, even if he does, this is a chain match. This is a fucking gimmick match. Gimmick matches are sometimes put in place to where they can get out of a feud without either guy looking too bad. And no matter what happens here, whichever guy wins, neither one of them is going to have to take a clean pinfall or a clean submission. All you do is walk around the fucking ring and tap the corners. This is basically a strap match except with a chain. So it should be brutal and it should be hard hitting, and who knows, we might get a little color in this match as well. So keep your hopes up for that. But John Cena, I'm going to predict to win. I think if he does and he's able to win in some sort of situation where Lana distracts Rusev again by accident or there's some sort of a fuck up and John Cena is able to tap that fourth corner at the last minute, you know, right before Rusev is about to yank him back and just barely win, it's going to be something like that. So if that happens, you have to understand that that is not a burial. That doesn't mean that, oh, there goes John Cena again, just burying another young guy. No, Rusev will come out of this feud better off. He's gained great experience from working with John Cena for 3 pay-per-views, including WrestleMania. They put this young guy that's only been on the main roster for a year and a half, and they put him up in a feud and a program with their poster boy. That is a good thing, not a bad thing. And the fact that this is a gimmick match and not a straight-up match, and John Cena isn't just going to go out there and give Rusev an AA and pin him 1, 2, 3 clean in the middle of the ring, that's not going to happen. No matter what happens, either guy can survive this loss. So I think Rusev is going to lose, and the reason I say that is because he was already United States champion for a long time. John Cena has the belt now, and they're doing this angle. They're doing this storyline with him coming out there and having an open challenge for the U.S. title every single week. You know what? I want to see that continue. Here's why. I want to see this go on for a little while longer. Just keep building it. Cena's going to win every week against mid-card guys or whoever. He's going to go out there and have some good matches, some bad matches, and then finally, when it's time for somebody to take the belt off of him, I want to see it be somebody's debut or somebody's return. I want to see it as a big surprise, maybe an NXT guy. Who do they have down there that they're waiting to call up? Fucking Zayn or Kevin Owens, somebody like that? I mean, imagine that. If a guy like that was the one that came out, showed up during Cena's open challenge, and beats him for the championship. That is how you launch somebody, my friend, and I think that could be what they're building towards. So for that reason, I think John Cena will retain and wind up beating Rusev at Extreme Rules with some bullshit. Lana's going to fuck up, somebody's going to fuck up, something's going to happen, and John Cena's going to get lucky and smack that fourth corner. It's not going to be a squash. It's not going to be anything like that. It's not going to be a fucking burial. It's not going to ruin Rusev's career like everybody thinks. Just use your head in this situation, all right? John Cena's going to win, yes, but it's not going to be the end of the world because it's a gimmick match. So fucking let it go. Now on to the main event. Seth Rollins versus Randy Orton for the WWE title inside of a steel cage. The RKO is kayfabe banned. The curb stomp is legit banned. I basically already gave my prediction for this in the beginning of the video, and yeah, Seth Rollins, he has to win. He absolutely has to win. There's no other way around this. Randy Orton will not win this belt. Seth Rollins will retain. So the finish of this match obviously is extremely predictable, but that doesn't mean it won't be a good match. And like I said, we are in Chicago here, for this pay-per-view, so it's not like the WWE can phone this one in. They actually have to come through and give us something good, and I think they will. Randy Orton's a great wrestler. Seth Rollins is a great wrestler. I think they can work well together. I think they can have some pretty entertaining spots and be pretty innovative inside of this cage. And then you add all the wild cards like the Guardian of the Gate and J&J Security and all that other bullshit. Who knows what kind of a finish they're going to come up with, but I expect it to be a fun one, and I expect it to be entertaining. So this is a show where I think I'm going to do pretty well on my predictions. I really do. I think a lot of it is pretty predictable, but I think we can still have an exciting show at the same time. So really, I think that's the best we can hope for. So I have got to get out of here. You guys have a great week. Enjoy Extreme Rules. Please tweet me and Facebook me and let me know how the show is going. Like I said, I will not be home to watch it, but I will be home chatting with all of you during Raw on Monday night instead. So I will catch you guys in about a week. Until then, peace.